My name is Daniel Morden and I am a storyteller. I have been invited by the Libraries of Wales to tell you a story, a long ago story, a once upon a time story. Those are the stories that I love to tell, the tales from long ago. Now, I also write books, and if you enjoy this story, you might want to have a look at this book, Weird Tales from the Storyteller, a book that I wrote many years ago. I hope you enjoy it. You'll find another version of the same story, a shorter version of the same story in my book. Now, the story is split into two sections. This is section 1. Once upon a... No, you have to join in, otherwise I can't start the story, you see. So, once upon a... Good. Once upon a time there was a king, and one night the king had a dream. He dreamt he saw a boat, but the boat sailed through the sky. The king was enjoying the dream so much, he woke up. And when he woke up, he wanted to get back to the dream. He put his head against the pillow, he clenched his teeth, he tried to think of sheep, but no, he couldn't get back to that marvellous ship dream. So the king sent soldiers across the 4 corners of the land, and the soldiers blew their horns, and the king proclaims, if any man, woman or child can make a flying boat, in return the king will give them half the kingdom. Well, many people tried to make a flying boat, but making a flying boat is hard to do. Now, in one corner of the kingdom there lived 3 brothers. I don't know where the parents were. I have no idea. They just lived 3 brothers, that's what I know. Now, the 3 brothers, they lived together. The oldest was very handsome. The second was very clever. The third, well, he was very happy. His 2 brothers, they thought that he was a fool. They sat him by the fire all day long and they laughed at him. And because he sat by the fire, his clothes were covered in ash. His face was covered in ash. There was ash in his hair. And when he stood up, a cloud of ash billowed off his clothes. And his 2 brothers, one day, one of them said, "You know who you are? You are the ash lad." "I am," said the ash lad. "I am the ash lad." And from then on, that's what everyone called him. Now, one day, the oldest brother decided to go out and make a flying boat. So he went into the kitchen and he got a bag full of food and he got an axe and he set off into the woods. As he walked through the woods, he saw, coming towards him, an old man. His face was so wrinkled you couldn't see where the eyes were. You couldn't see where the mouth was. The old man lifted a shaking hand and he said, "What will you make with the axe?" The oldest brother looked at the axe, looked at the old man and thought, nosy old man. So he said, "I'm going to make something for old pigs to eat out of. A pig trough." The old man, "That's right, you'll make a pig trough. What do you have in your bag?" He looked at the bag. He looked at the old man. He thought, what a nosy old man. I'm not sharing my food with him. And so he said, "I have manure in my bag." For those of you who don't know what manure is, it is poo. Cow poo, horse poo, pig poo, basically poo. The old man said, "That's right, you have manure in your bag." Flash of light, puff of smoke, the old man disappeared. The oldest brother, where did he go? Who cares? I'll set to work. So he put down his bag, took the axe in both hands, and he chopped and he hacked and he chopped and he hacked until the morning was over, and there it was. He'd made a wonderful pig trough. That's funny. How come I made a pig trough? I didn't want to make a pig trough. I wanted to make a flying boat. I'll start again. So he chopped and he hacked and he chopped and he hacked, and at the end of the day he'd made a glorious pig. I made another pig trough. What is going on? I know. I'll get myself something to eat. So he opened up his bag. He put his hand inside, and when he did, there was a squelch. Back he went to his house. The ash lad was sitting by the fire. He saw his brother come through the door, and he said, "Oh, my brother, did you make the flying..." "No, I did not make the flying boat. Don't ask me about the flying boat, stupid flying boat." And he went off to his room and slammed the door. Next morning, the second brother, he came into the front room and he said to the ash lad, he said, "My brother, our brother, what a fool he is. He knows nothing. If you want to make a flying boat, you have to have brains, not a pretty face." So he filled up the bag with good things to eat, and he put an axe on his shoulder, and off he went into the woods. Well, he hadn't gone far when hobbling towards him was the oldest old man he'd ever seen. His face was so wrinkled it looked like a brain. The old man, "What will you make with the axe?" He looked at the axe, looked at the old man. "I'm going to make a pig trough." "That's right, a pig trough you will make. What do you have in the bag?" "Manure." "That's right, you have manure in your bag." Flash a light, puff of smoke, the old man had vanished. So the second brother chopped and hacked and chopped and hacked, and what do you think he made? So he chopped and hacked and chopped and hacked, and what do you think he made? And then he went to his bag, he opened it up, he put his hand inside, and how did that get there? He went back to his house. The ash lad saw him come in. The ash lad saw the look on the second brother's face. The ash lad looked back at the fire and warmed his hands. He knew better than to say anything with his brother in a mood like that. Next morning, the ash lad stood up. Ash came off his clothes. He said, "I will make the flying boat." His brothers, You couldn't even put up a shelf, let alone make a flying boat." The ash lad went in to the kitchen, he found the axe, he put it on his shoulder, and he looked around for food. But his brothers on the last 2 days had taken everything in the kitchen. So the ash lad, "Oh wait, no, they have left something behind." And sticking out of his hand were 3 crusts of bread. And the ash lad, he said, "Delicious." And his brothers said, "They're not delicious. They're just crusts of bread. What's delicious about crusts of bread?" "It's delicious to me." And then the ash lad, he filled a bottle full of water. He went, "Lovely." His brothers said, "It's not wine, it's not mead, it's not beer, it's just water. What's lovely about water?" "It's lovely to me." He put them in his bag, the crusts and the bread, and he put the axe on the other shoulder, and off he went into the... Well, he hadn't gone far when who do you think he met? The old man. The old man, he said, "What will you make with the axe?" "A boat that flies through the air." The old man, "That's right, you shall. And what do you have in your bag?" "Delicious things to eat and lovely things to drink." "That's right, you have." So the two of them, they sat down, and the ash lad said, "Might you be hungry?" And the ash lad reached in the bag and he pulled out delicious things to eat. You can choose the delicious things if you want, things that are delicious to you, and lovely things to drink. You can choose the lovely things to drink if you want, whatever's lovely to you. And the ash lad and the old man, they ate and they drank and they talked. And strange to say, as they ate and drank and talked, the old man grew young again. Eventually, the old man who was young said, "You can only make a flying boat in your dreams. So lie down and sleep next to this tree and leave everything to me." So the ash lad lay down and slept next to the tree, and as he slept, he had a dream that axes flew through the air, no hands to hold them. They chopped down the tree came crashing to the ground. Once it had reached the ground, saws flew through the air, no hands to hold them, and they sawed the trunk of the tree until it turned into planks. And then he dreamed that hammers and nails flew through the air, no hands to hold them, and hammered the planks into the shape of a ship, a wonderful ship. And the ash lad, he woke up, and there in the centre of the forest, far from any river, far from any ocean, was a boat, a marvellous boat. And the old man who was young said, "My friend, this is your ship. But if you meet any other friends, take them with you. They will be your crew." So the ash lad jumped aboard the boat, and the moment he did, the sail filled with wind, and the boat ascended high into the sky, and the old man who was young waved and walked off into another story. As the ash lad was sailing, he sailed across every nation on the earth. He sailed and he sailed just for the joy of sailing. And he looked down, he saw many remarkable sights. And one of the remarkable sights that he saw was a man eating rocks. The ash lad said, "Hey, why are you eating rocks?" "Well, I've eaten everything else, and nothing else will fill my tummy. So I thought maybe I'd try eating rocks." And the ash lad said, "I tell you what, my friend, come with me, I'll give you enough to eat to fill your belly." So the hungry man jumped aboard, and off they sailed together. As they were sailing along, they looked down, they saw a muddy hole. And lying in the bottom of the muddy hole was a man with a huge belly. The ash lad said, "Why are you lying in a muddy hole?" "It's not a muddy hole, it's a lake, but I drank all the water and I'm still thirsty." "Ah," said the ash lad, "my friend, jump aboard, I'll give you enough to drink to quench your thirst." So the thirsty man jumped aboard, and off the three of them sailed together. As they were sailing along, they sailed over a woman. One side of her face was just like your face or my face. The other side of her face was one big eye, the biggest eye you've ever seen. And she had a rifle. So she shut her little eye, opened her big eye. The ash lad said, "What did you shoot?" She said, 300 miles away from here there's a hill. On that hill there's a forest. In that forest there's a tree. On that tree there's a branch. On that branch there's a twig. On that twig there's a leaf. On that leaf there's a fly. And I just shot out the fly's left eye." The ash lad said, "Wow, I bet they want you in the army. A marksman or a markswoman like that." She said, "They don't want me in the army. They're scared of me. They think I'm a freak because I've got a big eye." "I," said the ash lad, "do not think you are a freak. I think you are a friend. Jump aboard." So she jumped aboard, and off they sailed together. As they were sailing along, they looked down, and they saw a woman. One side of her head was just like your head or my head, but the other side of her head had the biggest ear you have ever seen. It was enormous. She put her ear on the ground, and she, The ash lad said, "Hey, why have you got your ear on the ground?" She said, "There's no need to shout. I can hear everything. I can hear a penguin tripping over its flippers in the Antarctic. I can hear an ant doing a tap dance in Mozambique. I can even hear what's happening at the golden apple tree that grows over the magic well at the end of the world." The ash lad said, "I bet people love you. I bet you can find children when they're lost and find animals when they stray." "No," she said, "people don't like me. They're scared of me because I got a big..." The ash lad said, "I'm not scared of you. You are my friend from this moment. jump aboard. And so she jumped aboard and off they sailed together. As they were sailing along, they looked down and they saw a man whose legs came all the way to there. He had 2 sets of knees on each leg. One leg was wrapped up in iron chains. The ash lad said, "Why have you wrapped up your leg in chains?" "I am the fastest runner in the whole world. If I let myself, I'd run so fast I'd set fire to my shoes. So I slow myself down by putting chains on one of my legs." The ash lad said, "Jump aboard, my friend." And so the fastest man in the world hopped aboard the ship, and off they sailed together. As they were sailing along, the last person they saw was perhaps the oddest of all of them, because it was a woman whose belly kept bulging and writhing as though something inside was trying to get. The ash lad said, "Hello, what's in your belly?" "Inside my stomach," she said, "are 7 summers and 15 winters. If I let myself, I'd let out the summers and winters, and one moment it would be the summer and the next it would be the winter, and the birds wouldn't know which way to fly, and the fruit wouldn't know whether to ripen or rot, and so I have to keep them in my belly, and they're at war with one another. It hurts." The ash lad said, "My friend, jump aboard, I'll give you somewhere to let them out." So she jumped aboard and off they sailed together until they saw far, 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 far below the castle of the king. So they threw an anchor over the side, and the anchor landed with a clang in front of the king's castle, and the sentry, the guard standing outside, looked at the anchor, looked up the anchor, saw the ship sinking out of the clouds, and he sounded the alarm, and the king came rushing out. "That's the one I dreamt of. Can I see a prince, please, or a princess? The one who's brought me the boat, please." But was it a prince? Was it a princess? It most certainly was not. It was the ash lad, who walked towards the king with a mad grin on his face like this. And behind him, a man with a big belly, and a woman with a big eye, and a woman with a big ear, and a man with very long legs, and a woman with a bulging belly, and the king. I don't want to share my kingdom with them. I don't want them for neighbours. They're all freaks. No, I'll give them something to do, something impossible. And when they can't do it, off with their heads. And to find out what task the king set the ash lad and his companions, you must watch the second video in this series. I have been Daniel Morden. I have been making a tale for you to hear on behalf of the Libraries of Wales. I hope one day that you and I will meet in person so I can tell you a story for real, and I can listen to what you think the story was like. In the meantime, see you soon.